Well, welcome to number 3 of my library tour in the dining room. I have a few more architecture books that we'll go through, and then we will hit the old books that I have. So the next one I have is Bungalow Style, Creating Classic Interiors in Your Arts and Crafts Home by Trina Crochet. This was put out by Taunton Press. They did a really nice job of printing these kind of books that, you know, just give you architectural details to look at, you know, for the Craftsman Style. Then I have Stickley Style, Arts and Crafts Homes in the Craftsman Tradition. This is by David Cathers and Alexander Verdikoff. Both of those are fairly big names in the Craftsman Style. And who is this published by? Oh, Simon and Schuster. So they really have done a beautiful job of, you know, bringing furniture and showing you how beautiful it all is. So anyways, we have that. I have another American Bungalow magazine. You know, I used to keep them all, but I don't, but I have a few that's left around. So anyways, oh, and this is just a catalog from 2006, Rejuvenation. They just sell reproduction things, but it's kind of cool. I got to go to the store in Seattle and yeah, could have bought a lot of things. And then the last one I have here is the Green and Green Masterworks by Bruce Smith and Alexander Verdikoff. This is published by Chronicle Books. Obviously, you know, have a love, and yeah, I haven't done it yet, but one time when I'm down in the LA area, I would love to go see the Green and Green house that's open for touring. So that'll definitely be a big one. And yeah, anyways, that's the end of that portion of the books here. Now we're going to talk about the old books that I'm not quite sure where they came from. But I know one thing, my mom and dad did not collect these. This first one is the notebook of Elbert Hubbard. And, oh, Alma Ames, 1940 PEO. Okay, that was my father's aunt. And he did, but, you know, I tended to just kind of poo-poo this book, and yet bronze statue of the craftsman Michelangelo at the Roycroft barn. Oops. So it's a fascinating book, printed very uniquely. I mean, it's almost kind of like a William Morris type thing, but I know it's not nearly that old. That's not what I'm saying. 1927. So is when this book was printed. And so just a variety of sayings. And so yeah, an old one that I think would look very nice here. The next one is History of the American Nation. And this is by Andrew C. McLaughlin, and published New York, Appleton and Company, 1899. So a nice little most of these old books are not in good shape. I don't say they're exactly falling apart, but they're not in good shape. Some of them have been eaten by mice in the cupboard. You know, I'm sure some of them were stored in barns for years. One of the most interesting ones that I have is Uncle Tom's Cabin, which I did read as a child. And this is, of course, by Harriet Beecher Stowe. And of course, it's not a first edition or anything like that. I mean, it's not worth money that way. Copyright 1894. But, you know, I was always fascinated with it as a kid, and it has drawings, and I think they actually have some, I just seem to remember a color plate, but maybe not. No, I guess not. Just black and white plates. But I know that my my great-grandfather Cook, his mother was from the South, and I would assume we're slaveholders. I know, horrible. So I kind of wonder where this book came in. But yeah, powerful book, changed the world when it came out. So anyways, definitely I love having that. Then I have a couple of, this is a progressive course in spelling by J.N. Hunt. And this was 1904. So, I don't know, maybe my grandmother, my paternal grandmother was not a teacher, but her sisters were. So maybe they used this in their classroom. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting though, isn't it? All these books that you end up with, you have absolutely no idea where they came from. And then over here I have it's in very poor condition, poor thing. See the mice, they just chewed along there. But this is DeWolf's Instructive Speller by Wilson Hinkle and Company. And I don't know if there's a date, and the inside pages have just been chewed too. Oh, this is, well, entered according to Act of Congress in the year 1862. I don't know if that's when this was published or not, but this might have been. But yeah, it's fascinating seeing how people learned, you know, to read and write in an earlier day. Then these two sweet little books. I always loved them and how they look. I mean, are they charming or what? They are F.M. Lupton Publishing. This first one is Plain Tales from the Hills by Kipling, Rudyard Kipling. And the other one is about Marie Antoinette, the poor queen herself. Let's see here. I don't think either one actually gives a publishing date. But this is by Jacob. But this one had photos. Yes. So, and in this one here, it calls the White series. So I wonder if there were more to this series than just these two. Once again, I have no idea where they came from. I don't even know when they were printed, but they're such pretty little books. And then yet again, now this I totally love, The Snow Image by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Now this was a library book. Unfortunately, it doesn't say what library. New Method Book Bindery. But it from 1930 with illustrations by Dorothy Lathrop, and so there's all these lovely little pictures which I read as a little girl, and anyways, yeah, really pretty little book. Not in terrible shape, but definitely doesn't look new. Then we have, I have to say, it has to have been the nudie book of the day, The Island of Regeneration by Cyrus Townsend Brady. And it has pictures all the way through it. And he is pretty bare-chested there, and let's see here, and this was 1909. So these pictures always struck me as a little you know, I mean, she's always dressed, but he's always down to his loincloth. So yeah, I've read this one, but yeah, it definitely is a little salacious, which makes me laugh, thinking about, you know, my elderly grandfather. But who knows if that was his book, you know, it might have been the romantic thing of the time. I just don't know. I have these books that are falling apart. A Girl of the Limberlost by Jean Stratton Porter. And my mom stole this from the St. Bernardine's Hospital Library. And it was reprinted in 1944. Copyright is 1909. It's a beautiful book. Reading it, I think it still stands true to today. However, Jean Stratton Porter, I also have this copy, which is totally falling apart, of Her Father's Daughter, which on the one hand is an amazing document of where I grew up, which was Ontario, and Ontario, California, which wasn't anything but desert until, you know, the 1910s, 1920s, they started building. And she wrote this book in 1921 about this young woman who has this Studs Bearcat vehicle, and she goes out into the desert collecting flowers and plants and stuff like that. And in that way, it's very, very interesting. But it is so such a racist book that it really isn't for the modern world at all. And so this book in particular is so racist, so overtly racist. And while I love Girl of the Limberlost, yeah, I have a problem with the author anymore. I just do. Oh dear. My piles of books that I've taken down are kind of falling down. Okay. Here is one that I like to think my great-grandfather Cook owned, and that's The Descent of Man by, let's see here, Charles Darwin. Let's see here, when was this published? You're not going to tell me, are you? No, I don't think they have it in here. Isn't it odd? Yeah, doesn't tell me at all, but it has this nice picture of Charles Darwin. And I have not read this, but you know, it's full of amazing things, and if I do read Darwin, it won't be this edition. This poor thing needs not to be read, but it's a lovely artifact from my family. This next book is a pretty thing, unfortunately, once again. Rat and Mice Molested. This is the stories of the Wagner operas. And it 1895, and here's a nice photo of Wagner. It's just a series of, you know, talking about the various operas, and but it has this very beautiful gold foil stamping right there, and then the embossing, as you can see in the green leather. Very beautiful book. Too bad. Too bad. And then the last book is The Song of Hiawatha by Henry Longfellow. Pretty little edition here. It's soft cover. And let's see if there's a date in here or not. Um, 1899. So, and then just a very nice, pretty thing of the Song of Hiawatha. So, and I may have more of these old books. I'm not sure. And, but yeah, you never know where you get a book from. And you know one thing, you can't give them all away. So anyways, I hope you found it interesting, and I will be continuing because this is very helpful getting me organized, which is what I need. So take care, keep reading. We'll talk again soon. Bye.